They don't want you to know about this, the American dream's hidden truth. In today's world, they don't want you to know that the American dream, once a vivid reality, has dwindled into almost non-existence, leaving it to seem like nothing more than a fairy tale. Not too long ago, both native-born Americans and immigrants could easily secure jobs, achieve financial stability, own homes and cars, and start families, all while belonging to the middle working class. This was the very essence of the American dream. However, decades of neglect, stagnation, and economic recessions have transformed this dream into nothing but a distant wish. Today, we'll delve into the rich history, its past glories, and its subsequent decline, seeking potential pathways to restore it. For as long as anyone can recall, the United States has been hailed as the land of boundless opportunities. The Declaration of Independence itself proclaims that all individuals are created equal, endowed with the unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It was a simple yet powerful message. If you put in the effort and remain committed, your chances of success were just as high as anyone else's. However, as we uncover the hidden truths in the next few minutes, it becomes evident that the ideal of the American dream has faded into obscurity due to several significant underlying issues. Among these, the fall of the American oil industry takes center stage. The United States has always been one of the top 3 producers of global crude oil, along with Russia and Saudi Arabia. This fact is no surprise, as the oil industry is a major part of the U.S. economy. However, in recent decades, the American oil production industry has been unstable, with periods of very high production followed by times of very low production. In other words, it's been like a roller coaster with big ups and downs. This instability is due to 3 main factors. First, the productivity of oil wells has been decreasing. Second, the cost of services for oil fields has been rising. And third, oil producers have been cautious in their investment strategies. To make matters worse, as we shift towards cleaner, greener fuels, the oil industry has been struggling for quite some time. Now, you might be wondering how this connects to the American dream. It's simple. The U.S. oil industry is a major source of employment, providing jobs in exploring, producing, processing, transporting, and selling oil and oil-based products. So when the oil industry falters, it leads to higher unemployment rates. This means fewer opportunities for people to achieve the American dream. Additionally, a struggling oil industry can harm the overall economy and result in a higher cost of living. For those without job security, this is a significant setback. But the troubles with the American dream don't stop there. The abandonment of the gold standard in the 1970s also played a crucial role in leaving the working class behind. The gold standard was a monetary system where a country's currency had a fixed value based on gold. In simpler terms, the value of a currency was determined by how much gold it could buy. Many countries, including the US, used the gold standard until the 1970s. In the 1970s, when the US got rid of the gold standard, it caused a bunch of new problems, especially inflation. One big issue that came from this was the growing problem of drug abuse, particularly with a dangerous drug called fentanyl. In just the past 10 years, the number of overdose deaths related to fentanyl has increased more than 4 times, reaching nearly 90,000 people. Fentanyl is about 50 times stronger than heroin and is causing serious problems in states like California, DC, Florida, and cities like Philadelphia, especially in the Kensington area. What's even more troubling is that it's often the same group of people who should be part of the thriving middle class that end up losing their lives to drug abuse. They might have been chasing the American dream in their own way, but never got the chance to realize it. Another problem caused by the end of the gold standard was a rapid increase in homelessness. Remember when I mentioned earlier that a working middle-class person could comfortably own a home? Well, with the gold standard gone and no protection against inflation, housing prices shot up, leaving many Americans without a place to live. This, along with a surge in immigration and joblessness, turned into a full-blown disaster. Even in recent times, the Department of Housing and Urban Development reported over 582,000 homeless Americans in 2022. And that number keeps rising. The final blow from getting rid of the gold standard involves credit card debt. Running a capitalist country like the US requires a fast-paced consumer market. But because regular folks can't keep up with the rising cost of living, they often end up drowning in debt. As of mid-2023, the New York Fed's report showed that the total consumer debt is a whopping $17 trillion, which is a real nightmare instead of the American dream. It's kind of ironic that the move to abolish the gold standard, which was meant to bring economic stability, led to these serious issues. The gold standard, when it was done away with, caused the prices of things made in the US to go up. This was a big problem for the government because they were more focused on printing money and being competitive worldwide. They didn't realize that this inflation would hurt local businesses. The cost of materials to make things went up, the cost of workers went up, and the demand for products went up too. So the government had to decide what to do. Their choice could either help the American dream or make it disappear faster. In response to the rising production costs, they decided to send manufacturing jobs to places where it was cheaper than the US This move made it harder for people to find work in the US, and it caused a lot of people to move to certain states where jobs were still available. The most recent example of this is the immigration crisis in New York. In less than a year, over 100,000 new immigrants have come to the city, hoping to achieve the American dream. But all it has led to is big pressures on the state's resources, more people without jobs and homes. Because other states were afraid they'd face the same problems as New York, Florida passed a law, SB 17-18, that restricts undocumented people from entering the state. You could get in big trouble if you're knowingly traveling into Florida with someone who doesn't have the right documents. This is a problem for many farmers, small-scale agricultural workers, truck drivers, and construction workers who might not have the right papers. They're scared to take jobs that would make them go to Florida to avoid getting in trouble. This could make the economic problems even worse because these workers are really important. So you might be wondering, what can the government do to bring back the American dream for its people? Unemployment is a serious problem. When the coronavirus hit in 2020, about 10 million Americans lost their jobs within 2 weeks, and this had a bad effect on the economy and especially on working class folks. If unemployment is a big problem, people might start asking for more restrictions on immigration, which is a hot topic you can learn about on this channel. The government has lots of things it can do to help bring back the American dream. They can use policies and programs to make it easier for people to find jobs and make a good living. For example, they could cut taxes or increase government spending to boost the economy and create jobs. If the government spends more money, people will have more money to spend. This means they'll buy more things, which is good for the economy. When people buy more stuff, it leads to a higher demand for goods and services, and that's called aggregate demand, AD. When AD goes up, the overall economy, or GDP, gets bigger. When the economy grows, more jobs become available for regular folks. The government can also do other things to help the economy. For example, they can lower the interest rates for loans. When interest rates are low, it's cheaper for people to borrow money, so they're more likely to invest and spend. This can boost aggregate demand, which in turn makes the economy grow and creates more job opportunities. These policies can also help make exports more competitive by reducing exchange rates, which is good for the economy and benefits everyday people more than the wealthy folks at the top of big companies. Besides that, the government can offer incentives for businesses to set up shop in areas where the economy is struggling. They can also invest more in job training and skills development to help people find work. The American dream might have taken a big hit because the government didn't really understand what regular working folks needed, but it can come back if the government listens to the people, makes good choices, and everyone works hard just like the American dream was all about from the beginning.